Do you like the show and you want to make your own? Well, let me tell you about Anchor. It's free. They're creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And now you can even add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless for what you can create. Now, Anchor is going to distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast. No minimum listenership needed. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Welcome into the Monday, June 6th edition. Your drive is beginning now on ESPN 94.1 AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk a little championship baseball today. Over the weekend, the Class AAA championship belongs to those Hurricane Redskins. And so we're going to talk to the victorious head coach of the Hurricane Redskins coming up on the show. I told you Hurricane would win. I said that Hurricane would win. I picked that game. I made a declaration that it would be Hurricane. That if I had to root for any school, I'm rooting for Hurricane. And so here it is. Hurricane won. Again, it's that show rub. It's that show rub. If I take a shine to you, you get a little extra rub. It's short-lived. You got to come back and get more of that. But good things happen when you're on the show or you're on with me. I'm talking about you. Good things happen. I wish that was the case, but I'm going to at least accept that for the time being. How are you guys doing out there? Big news on social media today? Extraordinary news today. The turf is coming up. Doug Chapman with the best videos, popping that up there. It's coming up. So we're getting underway. We're getting the turf going here. I know some of you are hoping that we can align the turf to maybe the 50-yard line will align with the stadium. Maybe that would be good. Maybe we can get the right alignment here. Of course, turf at Marshall has undergone several iterations over the years. Remember that crown on the turf, the center of the turf, and just the crown that played havoc with a lot of teams here. So that's the big news today, right? Is that the big news? Turf. The turf is coming up. That means the new turf will be going down soon. Is that the big news? I'm not sure if that's the big news, but that's the big news. How do you feel about that? More importantly, the black end zones are happening. What else are you excited about? I want to hear that from you. 877-420-TALK is our phone line this hour. And our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Is this sort of cathartic? Just get that turf out of here. Going into the Sun Belt with new turf. Going to have the Sun Belt logo put on. You're going to have a black end zone that maybe the fans chose. Maybe some powers that be inside the shoey ultimately decided it was going to be black turf. I would have liked the Kelly Green. I know I'm the outlier here. That's fine. I would like the Kelly Green. Just have that beautiful Kelly Green be. It's fine. The black turf would be cool. We'll have some fond memories of Marshall football with that black turf. I just can't wait to see what it looks like in person. It's going to really pop whatever the ultimate design is. I mean, we know what the ultimate design is. We know, but we got to see it in actual physical presence now. We have to see it in three-dimensional space. We need to see it. This is a special time, though. It's sort of rebirth. It's revitalization. Hey, things are happening at the stadium. The turf's coming up. What other things could be happening at the stadium soon? That's what we're kind of hoping for here. So the turf, not necessarily the big story of the day, but it's something that you're talking about. So how do you feel about this? You want to get a piece of that turf? Do you have as many fond memories of this turf as you did during the days of the old turf? The turf that Randy Moss and Chad Pennington operated on? Do you have some fond memories? mean, does this turf elicit some of that fondness of Marshall football, like a special memory? Is there a turf moment? Is there a turf moment for you? Are you going to be I'm thinking the Restore had it last time. The turf, I think it's going there. I got to double check that. If you know, let me know. If you know where the turf is going, let me know. But I thought it was available for sale last time with the Restore, and I think that's the case again. If that's the case, are you going to go get yourself some? Decorate your herd man cave. I'm sorry, your herd person cave, your herd woman cave. Look, I got to be careful here. There are a lot of herd fans that are not men; they're women, and they're very passionate about their herd, and so I have to be careful here because, a she shed maybe. Remember the commercial for the she shed? So are you going to decorate your she shed with that, or your man cave? You're going to put some down in the living room maybe. It's like you're going to carpet a small area of your room, your living room, with herd turf there. But that'd be the TV room, right? Have the turf there. Maybe get the end zone. Well, if you're so fortunate, it probably can't get that, but maybe get maybe a 10-yard line, maybe get the goal line if you're fortunate. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Texter writes in at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This texter writes in, Paul, can you use your clout and high standing with the Marshall Athletic Department to nix the black end zones in favor of Kelly Green, which is actually one of our school colors? Throw your weight around, Paul, before it's too late. Go Herd. Here's the thing. What Charles Huff wants, Charles Huff gets. So if Coach wants black turf, we're getting black turf. I think he kind of played his hand a little bit. We interviewed him a few months ago. He kind of played his hand a little bit. Maybe it gave a tell. He was kind of favoring the black turf here. I'm not sure if his vote outweighed a lot of people, but really the black turf on social media, a lot of people loved it. I'm with you. I guess I'm showing my age a little bit here. I'm old school. It's Kelly Green. I was one time at a radio station event during a game day, and I had a lady come up to me and talk to me for a few minutes, and that was great. She felt like she'd come up and talk to me. It was good. And she pointed out the shirt she was wearing. This goes way back. She pointed out the shirt. She said, "This isn't that. He's not Ohio green. Isn't that? No, this is Kelly green. This is Marshall green. I'm wearing not that Ohio green that everybody's wearing these days. Kelly green. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I don't know if I can go over to the shoey and just look at Coach Huff and say, no, you're not getting black turf, or roll over to Christian Spears' office and say, hey, look, new guy, you can't just be putting black turf in, new guy. Just, who do you think you are? I mean, you think you're the athletic director or something? You can't go putting in black turf. I don't know if that's proper use of what power I do have. I will pass the message along. All right. When we continue, we flip gears. Baseball championships wrapping up over the weekend. Hurricane, your Class AAA champ. It's good for Southern West Virginia. It's good for the local area. We got a local team winning the state championship, and we're going to talk about it when we continue here on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Monday, June 6th edition. The Drive continues on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Now, the other day, I said point blank, Hurricanes going to win the Class AAA championship. Thankfully, I did not jinx it. Thankfully. When it came down to it, Hurricane was the team I was pulling for, and they win the state championship, also defeating 7-time defending state champion Bridgeport in a rematch from last year's championship game to even make it to the championship. So a impressive run for Hurricane baseball, and then join us now to talk a little bit more about it is Hurricane head coach Brian Sutphin. Congratulations, Brian. We were pulling for you over the weekend, hoping that it would be Hurricane that won this, and congratulations.
I really appreciate that. It was a great run with a great group of young men, and they certainly deserve it. They worked very, very hard and always put the team first, so I appreciate that.
How meaningful is winning this championship? It's not a given that you can get to a championship on a given year. It's very hard to win, and for Hurricane to win this, what did that mean for you, your team, and, of course, the community at large?
No question. It meant a lot to a lot of people. I mean, obviously, everybody's been through a tough few years, and our group is, just on the small scale of baseball and being young. And, that last year we won 31 in a row. And we got to the state championship game, and we're up 3-1 with the bases loaded in the third inning, and things are kind of going our way. And then we were playing a really good team, and from that point forward, they just completely outplayed us, and we didn't put our best foot forward, and they win it, and our kids are dejected, and it's, we're going to come back and do this, and as an adult, that may not happen. And so to watch them kind of persevere, our best pitcher, and probably the best pitcher in the state of West Virginia, his name was Ishmael Barrero. He was also a quarterback. He went down in early April, and he was lost for the season. So, at that point, you're thinking, you're just getting guys out there and doing the best they can. You never know what's going to happen. And those kind of things make it, obviously really tough for him to watch his teammates do all it, but he was there every step of the way. And for those kids to kind of rally around each other, it was really fun to watch.
As you were watching the championship game, coaching in that game, did you at any time feel that this looks too easy? You beat George Washington 11-0. That's a really good team there. And for your squad to just do that, the GW, was there any point where you're thinking, okay, we got to be careful, that's a good team, they're going to come back, we got to be careful? Or was there a point where you could just let yourself go, we're going to win this thing? Or were you at all points of that game, we're going to win this thing?
Well, that's a great question. The night before the semifinal game, we played Bridgeport, who obviously that is the team that beat us the previous year in 2021 in the state championship game, and they have won 7 in a row. And so it was such an emotional game on Friday night. The game didn't end till midnight. It was extra innings, and we win 3-2. And then you turn around and you play GW, who obviously was playing great baseball, and they beat Jefferson, who was the 1 seed coming in, and knew that we were going to have our work cut out for us. But you kind of had the feeling with our group that they weren't going to be denied. They just had, they just kind of had that look in their eye, kind of like, it doesn't matter what happens, we're going to find a way. And that was kind of special, and that doesn't come around every time. So as a coach, you're just like, hey, just kind of get out of the way and let them do their thing. And it was, when you get a group of guys like that with that kind of bond, and they're on a mission, it really makes it extra special, no doubt.
So already you're planning for the repeat season, right? No time to enjoy this, correct?
Oh yeah. Well, as you get older, I've been doing this a while now, and I think that there's moments where you got to enjoy it, and we had 9 seniors, and all those young men, we're certainly unselfish and pushed each other, and they were they kind of showed the other guys the way. I mean, that group was, in 3 years they won exactly 100 games without playing their sophomore year. They were 112. So that obviously they had a nice recipe on how to go about their business. And then our group that we've got coming back is just as motivated. So it remains to be seen, but we are certainly looking forward to the opportunity to next spring to go out and let this new group do their thing.
Hurricane coach Brian Sutphin joining us on the program. Hurricane winning the Class AAA championship over the weekend, going through 7-time defending state champion Bridgeport, defeating a really good George Washington team to win the championship. You feel like you had to win this game. You had to win this tournament, not only for yourself, but it feels like Southern West Virginia was sort of rooting for Hurricane, or at least in that Bridgeport match, to let's get one for the southern half of the state, or at least this portion of West Virginia. Did you feel that at any time? Because I'm sure there were some dividing lines here when it comes to when these teams were seated and where you were at.
Sure. Well, I tell you what we felt is to be that close the year before to their goal, and they saw that as that's the destination. And then to be in that game last year and, things not go their way. And we only had one senior in 2021. So all these kids are coming back. And in their mind, it was kind of like state championship or nothing. And, so, you felt like, hey, I hope that they get what they accomplished, but they certainly realize that, hey, as long as they're going out there and giving everything they got, whatever happens. Like Friday night, the game could have went either way. Two really good teams competing, and baseball's a one-game deal with not double elimination. I mean, anything can happen, and but it was just like I said, it just makes it extra special that those guys kind of they had that in their sights, and they were not going to be denied until they get what they want. And it was, again, a special group that kind of, you never felt like anybody was kind of putting themselves above anything that had to do with the team. The team always came first, and that was such a wonderful thing to be a part of. And in this day and age, that doesn't happen very often, to be quite honest. So. It was a lot of fun.
Do you feel that that these young men who are leaving now have left a legacy that for years to come, that the next class and the next class are going to strive to be just like them? Because Hurricane is, of course, a AAA school, but at the same time, Hurricane sort of has that quality about it as a community. You're in the big school division. Hurricane's a bigger place in West Virginia, but it has still that community feel to it that maybe some places don't necessarily, have claim to.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. I know many times this weekend, it was a sea of red in the stadium, and with that kind of support, it's hard not to be successful. There's so many people that are genuinely, pulling for them, and they feel that, that people care about them. Not just, oh, well, if you do well in sports, then we care about you. They just care about them as people, and the community support is amazing here. I mean, everybody from our mayor and our school, and we're very lucky. I mean, I've been here since 2009 was my first spring, and the guys that are with me and my coaching staff have been with me all along, and those guys are invaluable. I mean, the kids love them, and they're great, not only baseball people, but great human beings that you would want around young people, and certainly, very rewarding in that aspect.
So what's next for the team? What kind of festivities and celebrations can we expect? Because you can't just celebrate this one day. You got to make a full run at it for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. They, like I said, the school had something back here for us after the game. It was really neat. We had a local restaurant. Everybody went there, and then, the mayor's already reached out, and they want to do something that, city council and obviously the kids. The only thing they care about is when do we get our rings? But it's all good stuff. I mean, and certainly there's times in life you have to celebrate their accomplishments, and they've certainly earned it. It's not been easy, and for them to get there, they certainly should be rewarded.
Yeah, those rings are always that's the first thing. When do we get as if you've got them ready to go. Yeah, just here you go. We had them made last night. Here you go. Everything's correct on them.
I know, it's crazy, but it is all good. And we've been, since I've been here, we've been to the state championship game 6 times. And, the coaching staff that we have is amazing. And they've the guys that are with me are phenomenal. And you go through that as a group, not only as the actual young men, but also the adults involved. And we've won it 3 times and we've lost it 3 times. And they don't ever, either way you live with that stuff. And but it's been such a blessing here because, we'll go to those games and the alumni come back and you see, guys that graduated, 10 years ago, and they come back to the games and they might live, hours away, and they caught a flight to come in. And it's just such a rewarding feeling to realize that, the impact that a community like ours can have on a young man. And then as they grow into adults and they have their own family, they see that as, hey, that's the community type of community I want to live in. So we're very blessed in that regard, no question.
Coach, make sure that here over the next few weeks you get your laundry list out of things you'd like to have to improve the program. This is the perfect time now.
I like where your head's at, no question.
Yeah, need a new scoreboard? Now's the perfect time. Want to freshen up the turf? Want to freshen up the field? Now's the perfect time.
Yes, I need to get you on board on this. You can come to my exit interview meeting with the school, and you can say, hey, this is what he says I should ask for. This would be perfect.
I can do that. You know what? You send me the list. I'll just put it out here, and then it'll get back to them. We'll make sure.
What you think.
Hey,
yes.
New concession stand, new boss, anything you need. Now's the time to ask for. What are they going to say? No, coach?
Yeah, that's right.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations once again. We were pulling for you. This is great. It's always good to see teams in the local area win state championships, and Hurricane is in part of that local area for us here in Huntington and in this area. So congratulations, and let's hope that we're talking about this again with you next year.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
That is the head coach of Hurricane Baseball, Brian Sutphin. State champs, winning it in exciting fashion, unless you're a GW fan. 11-0 in the championship game, but beating the 7-time defending state champion Bridgeport to get to that championship game in itself is an impressive feat, but go on and win it always makes it that much sweeter. We will get your phone calls and text in. The phone line is open. 304-396-TALK is our text, and 877-420-8255 if you just want to dial up and say hi. More coming up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We're taking Paul Swann everywhere. Download or subscribe to The Drive with Paul Swann on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with the Monday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I know I mentioned to you earlier on the program, if you were with us, the big news of the day was the turf was coming up. And I already used as one texter asked me to do with my high standing within the athletic department, my high standing. I asked the athletic director, how much high standing do I really have with this turf? I'm not going to share the results of that conversation. Let's just say there was a conversation. I don't know if we're getting. It. Whatever's going to be laid down, I don't think we're getting that changed. So when you show up at Jones C. Edwards Stadium, or when Doug Chapman breaks another video to show you what it looks like, we'll all see that there. We'll see what that looks like. Doug's a go-to source for me. I just follow Doug Chapman on Twitter. Just follow his feed. He busts things all the time. I actually had video today, seeing the turf being rolled up. It's pretty neat process there. But that was the big news of the day. But really the big news probably. There's a lot going on with Marshall football. For example, the incoming class moved into dorms this weekend, so new experiences begin for these young men, and we get to follow and watch and be a part of that journey as Herd football fans. Get to be a part of that journey. So that's always exciting when the new class arrives and gets into all the mundane stuff of being a college kid. I mean, some of it's exciting, some of it's not so exciting. There's sort of that balance. Okay, I'm a football player. Okay, I got to do homework. Okay, where do I show up at the cafeteria to get food? And of course, being a football player, new on campus, it's an exciting time. A lot of people are, probably going to be, very supportive and helpful of you. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You're not just some awkward kid showing up on campus. You're on the football team. So, a lot of people instantly don't know you, but hey, you're on the football team. Go Herd. Or as some were tweeting, Sko Herd. I was never one for the Sko Herd, but it does trend now and then. High school campers were out this weekend. One-day camps for Marshall football. You know who was in attendance? Adam Pac-Man Jones. You know who else was in attendance? Chris Henry's son was in attendance. So that's good. That's a great pairing there. Adam Pac-Man Jones, he's with Chris Henry's son there. Two of my favorite Bengals. I love Chris Henry. I really did. I loved Chris Henry. And Adam Pac-Man Jones was something else, especially to follow on Twitter. So to see him there, Chris Henry's son's there, that's pretty cool. So, and you know what? Pac-Man Jones still follows me on Twitter. Yeah, you didn't know that. Christian Palmer in our booth, the producer this afternoon, you didn't know that, did you? Real Pac-Man 24 follows me. I'm still following him too. Yeah, I started following him when he was a Bengal, and guess what? Yeah, followed me back. So, super cool. But yeah, I love Chris Henry. And again, former Bengal, hated how his life came to an end. You hate how a lot of people's lives come to an end. And it's good to see that football sometimes creates bonds that maybe other facets of life can't compete with. So it's good to see that out there. So hopefully we'll see more from Adam Pac-Man Jones shooting videos over at Marshall University. So the signing classes here, moved in. Pac-Man's here. Chris Henry's son was in attendance. And he's notable because of his for what he's doing also. But, it's notable because of where he came from. So a lot of that was notable. And you hope that, you see more things like that. The next camp is going to be June 12th and June 19th and then June 26th. And on a different side, not necessarily going to be playing football for the Herd, but former Marshall guard forward Jeremy Dillon is going back to playing football. So he's on the football team in high school, making a name for himself, and he chooses to play basketball for the Thundering Herd. And I don't know if that was the right decision. A lot of people maybe thought that wasn't the right decision. You got to go where you're happy. So that's the decision you make. You make that choice. Where are you happy? A lot of things don't work out, though. And so a former Kennedy Award winner choosing to play basketball, you're thinking, are you sure that's going to make you happy? Are you sure that's what you want to do? You were at one point the best football player in West Virginia. So do you want to play basketball or do you still want to play football? And so he's staying in state. He's leaving Huntington, and he's going to be playing for Charleston's famous West Virginia State football team. So he's going to play for state. And that's a good move for him. Basketball, I don't think, was really where he should have been. He should have been playing football all along. So I'm happy for him in that regard because if you've got a talent, you should use it. Unless it doesn't make you happy. I mean, that's the thing here. If it's not making you happy or you're not finding joy in that talent, maybe it's time to either see where you can apply that talent where you will be happy, or maybe you need to find something else you're good at. You can be good at a lot of things. Doesn't mean it makes you happy. And if you were good at football and maybe he needed to be away from it to realize it made him happy, so it's going to work out for him. We'll get your phone calls and text in. Phone line is open. 877-420-TALK. 877-420-8255. The text line is open. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. More coming up on this edition of The Drive. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're wrapping up today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, but that doesn't mean you can stop. No, that means I got plenty of time for you. 877-420-TALK. And, of course, the text line. Text safely now. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. A lot of things going on over the weekend. Fun weekend. We, of course, had a really good bounce-back game for Golden State, Game 2 of the NBA Final. We've got that for you coming up again here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And, of course, we also have Stanley Cup Final, Western Conference side of things. Colorado could sweep Edmonton and get into the actual Stanley Cup Final itself. Be the first team to punch its ticket. We've got that game coming up for you tonight. The Pirates are off, so we've got that game for you here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. But we also have that game on our sister station, and we're going to have all those games there. Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So Colorado's just a better team right now. I mean, you've got Connor McDavid, one of the best players to play the game at this current moment, and they've lost Arnell Nurse. He's out for a game. I think Colorado might sweep this. They're a pretty beat-up team right now, so they need the sweep. And on the other side, last night, really, it was yesterday afternoon, they played this thing at 3 o'clock, which was kind of weird. It threw me off completely because thankfully I got a lot of heavy lifting stuff done over the weekend on Saturday that I needed to do. And you never get enough done on the weekend, and that's just me right now. I'm scurrying to try to get things done because once football season starts, I'm done. It's over for me getting anything done until March, unless someone wants to volunteer their time and help. But that's just another story here. But 3 o'clock, I mean, I'm stopping what I'm doing. 3 o'clock, watching this game here. And I almost thought that the Rangers would go up 3-0. And every time the Rangers score, Bill Cornwell sends me a text because we're watching the game. We're both Ranger fans. So we're texting back and forth, and I'm sitting here thinking, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And then it ends up 3-2, 3 unanswered. Still a good game. Game 4 coming up. We'll have that on our sister station as well. Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Some good stuff so far. I hope Edmonton extends the series just a little bit, gives Colorado a little bit more of a fight, and hopefully the Rangers can, on the other side, for me personally, just put them away. Get that Game 4, go back to Madison Square Garden, win Game 5, get set for the Stanley Cup Final. That would be something for me. That would be huge. I didn't think I'd see the Bengals back in the Super Bowl, and I got that. Now hopefully the Bengals can make runs to the Super Bowl. That will be fantastic. I didn't think I'd see this anytime soon in hockey. From my point of view, I wasn't sure if I'd see it ever again. Here it is. Basketball, again, I'm a Laker fan. I've seen that. All right, I'm good. I'm rooting for Golden State only because it's not Boston. I turned that off. I watched it. I started out with that because last night was Hell in a Cell. And I started out with NBA. I'm going to watch this, see how it goes. And then when I kind of felt like, okay, Golden State actually has this. I'm not worried about this. I'm going to flip over to Hell in a Cell. It's on Peacock. So if you have Peacock, you get to watch that for free, which is beautiful. Because I'm not paying $60, $70 for a wrestling pay-per-view. Back in the day, I used to do that, pay those prices. Not that much, but I'd pay those prices. I'd have a lot of people over my house and get the wrestling pay-per-view. I'm not doing that now. But for free, I'm in. And the main event was Cody Rhodes. And he was taking on Seth Rollins for the third time. It was this Hell in a Cell match. And at first, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to tune into this. I don't know. This match, they've already done this twice. So what's the point of a third time here? And Cody's won both of them. So maybe Cody should have lost the second one. This would have been the rubber match. It would have been a little bit more. Here is why I tuned into that. If you don't follow professional wrestling, Cody Rhodes, who is the son of Dusty Rhodes, he's got a big push now in WWE, try to live up to the legacy of Dusty Rhodes, which is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. You should Google his speech about hard times on YouTube. Google it and watch the hard times speech and tell me that's not relevant to this day. That's how big of he was, so eloquent. And Cody, it came out before the match, Cody tore his pectoral muscle completely off the bone before the match. So I tuned. I'm like, okay, I saw that. I'm tuning into this. I'm going to watch this and see what the heck they're doing. And he came out, had his robe on. I'm thinking, okay, this is okay. How bad could this be? He's coming out, and when he took his robe off, I could not believe. I thought, okay, maybe there's a work here going on here. Maybe they're kind of working storyline. I don't know. No, it was legit. You should have seen his chest, his body. It was purple. How bad it was. This is a legit injury. And he goes out there and still performs at a high level with a torn pectoral muscle, torn off the bone. He was lifting weights last week, tore it, injured. He was injured, then lifting and tore it all, and then he still performed. It was of his own decision to do it too. He said it was his choice to go out there. He's going to be on the shelf for a while, but the legend is going to be immense when he comes back because he's going to be on the shelf for a while. He went out there, and I thought, okay, they're going to have him lose. No, he won the match. By the way, spoiler alert, if you don't know this, wrestling is scripted. Spoiler alert, wrestling is scripted. I know, it's right now, I've just blown someone's mind. I'm going to get an angry tweet or text. What are you talking about? This is real. No, they're athletes. They are real athletes. The outcome is predetermined. If you're not sure, it's not real. The outcome is, but just some of the most amazing thing I've seen. This guy, and just, half his body was purple. It's like, what are you doing? And he goes out there and he performs, and now he is going to be off the shelf for a while. But I tell you what, when he comes back, it's going to be huge. So if you're following professional wrestling, you know what I'm talking about if you saw it. If you don't, though, I'll tell you this. I'll be watching Monday Night Raw tonight. Usually it's not part of my Monday watching, especially during playoff hockey season here. I'll flip it in tonight to see what the heck they're going to do here because, this wasn't just like a sprained ankle or something like this. This is torn off the bone and still went out and performed. So I'll say this. I'm going to be tuning in. They're going to get the advertisers are going to get their money's worth. That's for sure. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. Back tomorrow. Don't forget, we've got hockey coming up. Western Conference Final Game 4. Colorado and Edmonton. We've got it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 because we don't have Pirates baseball, so we can offer that to you. And, of course, if you want to follow the Stanley Cup Final from the last few games of the Eastern and Western Conference matchups to the final itself, we've got you covered every night on Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. For our producer, Christian Palmer, I'm Paul Swann. This has been The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W231BS Huntington, broadcasting from the Oscars Breakfast Burgers and Brew Studios. This is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.